Well, sport pales in comparison to the human toll of the escalating conflict in the Middle East right now, but the situation is having some impact on preparations for the season-opening Australian Formula One Grand Prix in Melbourne. Travis Auld is the CEO of the Australian Grand Prix Corporation. He's been good enough to join me now. Travis, hello to you. We know the F1 teams were just in Bahrain for pre-season testing and that McLaren and Mercedes had staff there this week for a Pirelli tyre test that's now been cancelled due to a US-based 30k away from the circuit being the target of some retaliatory strikes. What are the conversations you've been having around everyone and perhaps everything getting to Melbourne on time?
Yeah, good morning. No doubt the events of the weekend have thrown out the travel plans for the teams and F1 themselves. F1 are experts at moving people around the world, and so they've quickly rescheduled flights. I'm told everyone's now locked in and arriving within the required timeframes, and so there'll be no impact on our race. But it's certainly been a busy 48 hours, particularly for F1.
Yeah, that is for sure. The circus moves from Melbourne to China and then to Japan, but then after that, Bahrain's due to host the GP in mid-April, followed by Saudi a week later. It's just 5 weeks away. How big a logistical headache could this prove for F1 chiefs, do you think, right now?
Yeah, I'm sure they're thinking ahead to what the implications might be. For us, our focus is on sort of 3 days' time and making sure that we can get the people here that need to be here in order for the event to go ahead. We're expecting record crowds and a lot of anticipation around race one. And so as it stands at the moment, there are no issues for us, but I'd imagine beyond us, they'll be thinking about what they might do to the calendar if they need to.
I want to get to your event in just a moment because it is always a highlight of the Australian sporting calendar. If it came to it, would it be logistically possible for Melbourne to come to the rescue and host one of those events?
Oh, look, I'm not sure. Depends on when it was. Obviously, we spent a lot of time constructing this circuit, and then straight after the race, we pull it all back down again so the community can use it. And so it'd need to be pretty quickly after our race. I don't imagine that will be the case. They'll have other plans in place, as you would imagine, for a whole series of reasons. And I think COVID's meant that people are pretty match fit with this sort of stuff. So I don't think we should have that on our plans.
Melbourne's the first Grand Prix, Travis, as you well know, where these new F1 regulations are going to be on show. The engine's sporting a near 50-50 split of electrical and petrol power. Some of the drivers, led by Max Verstappen, for one, have been a little grumpy about the cars so far and their need to harvest power, back off a little bit to get that electrical component firing. I'm sure you were keeping an eye on the testing in Bahrain. What did you make of the way the cars functioned? And with Albert Park being at such a high-speed circuit, what are you expecting?
What I make of it is there's a lot of gamesmanship in sport. I don't know the extent to which everyone's turning up and going full tilt. So we'll see. We'll find out in a few days' time the extent to which some of that stuff's real and some is just positioning. I'd imagine it's more of the latter.
The F1 at Albert Park is such a massive, massive event. Numbers just increasing year on year. Tell us just about how big it could be this year in terms of people through the gate. This sport just continues to go from strength to strength in terms of popularity.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, the interest in the sport generally in our event, fortunately, is at unprecedented levels. And so we've sold more tickets than last year. We had a record 465,000 through the gates last year. If all goes well, we'll exceed that this year, which is quite extraordinary. That number of people, a lot of them coming in from overseas and quite a number interstate. And so it's great for Melbourne. It's a good place to be this time of year.
You've got another team on the grid in Cadillac as well. Logistically, what does that do for pit lane? Have you had to make any adjustments?
Yeah, we certainly had to find some more space, particularly in an old pit building. And so I think every promoter's running around trying to work out how they accommodate what comes with the new team. But you take that any day of the week for the excitement of having a new team and a big American team on the grid. I think everyone's looking forward to that. And Valtteri Bottas, who we call a quasi-Australian, he's very popular here. So I think he'll bring his own fan base.
Yeah, he might have the swimmers on in pit lane. Who knows? He loves it, the old budgies. But just give us an idea too of what it's like to be Oscar Piastri in Melbourne, particularly after a world title tilt and a hometown boy, and just the fanfare and hype and attention that is on him over the next week.
Yeah, I mean, I can imagine for him, he's in town now. The amount of interest he has when he gets around Melbourne. He's such a humble young guy that he seems to take it in his stride, which is quite extraordinary for his age. But he has his own grandstand this year. We released a Piastri grandstand, and it was the first grandstand to sell. And so we're going to see a lot of 81s around, and he's going to get an enormous amount of support. And he takes it in his stride. But I mean, I think everyone's sort of hoping for a moment post race where he's standing on one of those steps, and hopefully the highest one.